Welcome, everybody, to the Superspeedway Kings Truck Series. We are here today at Talladega, kicking off Season 9 for these drivers. Thank you for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Rick Sousa, and here joined in the booth by a familiar voice, my co-host, Jeff Needy.
Good to be back with you, Rick, in this new season. Season number 9 for these guys at the Superspeedway Kings, running at Talladega tonight. And we are looking forward to a good race. We got some new faces. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of these guys. And I think we're in store for a good race tonight.
Looking forward to it. As we get through the qualifying order, we will highlight some of those new names. We don't know much about these new drivers, but I'm sure they'll present themselves, and we'll hopefully fill you in. So right now, qualifying is underway here at Talladega. Times have not quite come in just yet, but we're expecting them to start populating the big board, and we'll see if there's one already. That's Steve Korosek, Gary Jenkins are putting up some good times. We'll see how it goes as these drivers begin to post their qualifying speeds.
Yeah, my internet connection is weak tonight. It's hard to read the numbers on those qualifying speeds, but it looks like we're in the high 54s, low 55s. That's about what these guys were running in practice. Like, give you an example, Gabe Butler was second fastest with a 50.8. I mean, just blazing speed, but that's in the draft. Qualifying, he was running, in his mock qualifying runs, he was running about 56. So be interesting to see where these guys come in tonight running solo in these qualifying laps.
So a number of times are populating in, and more are filling in as we go. But yeah, we're seeing that 55 flat number pretty much. You know, that top 7 is only separated by hundredths of a second. So I expect to see them now. Do they really matter here what they qualify? Probably not as much as other tracks, because, you know, with this track and with the fact that we've got 77 plus laps, it's all about patience and getting your timing done on your pit strategy and all the things that it takes to pull together here. Now, these are the Superspeedway Kings, and well, what does that mean to you as that watcher of what's happening here on track? These guys know how to race on these plate tracks, and we often see them at a minimum 2 wide, and very often we are 3 wide at this track.
Boy, that is the truth. It's exciting to watch these guys at Talladega, because they at least the last time we ran at Talladega a couple of weeks ago, they were 3 wide almost the entire race. They waited a little bit to get out there, but it didn't take them long, just a few laps, and all of a sudden they're running 3 wide, trying to work their way to the front. And it's interesting to see the strategies play out, because you'll see some guys that will qualify well, but they don't like what they see up front early part of the race. They'll just duck down to the apron and go to the back and ride along for a while till we get close to the end of this 77-lap race.
So tonight we've got at a minimum around 31 entries so far. That may grow as we see how things play out. And, you know, sometimes not everybody qualifies. They're just as happy to basically hang at the end and let the race come to them. So,
well, it's nice to see number 23, Sebastian Marin, is in the lineup tonight. He had to miss because of school. He had to miss the last couple races. He was leading the points, ended up missing the last 2 races, and still finished in 4th position in the points. So that was a real good showing by Sebastian last season. And didn't think he was going to make it tonight, but fortunately he did.
All right, so it looks like Brian Rainville, one of the drivers here, posted that Sebastian made it with 20 seconds to spare. So that being said, let's look at tonight's grid for this event here at Talladega. Can you? How's that look for you, Jeff? Can you see those?
I can. Yeah, Gary Jenkins got the pole tonight in that number 90 truck, looking down there at 54.999. Wow, that was something else. Jason Middleton in the 18 truck alongside him in that front row. Moving back to the second row, position 3, Steve Korosek in the 027 with Rick McKinney in the 29. Third row, Gabe Butler, our season 8 champion in the 88 truck. And next door to him, Zachary Lima in the 22, followed by Cody Nagels in the 6 and Tom Dixon in the 411 machine. In position 9, Jimmy Crow Jr., the league director for these Super Speedway Kings, in the 39 truck. Alongside Michael Malau in the 211, and then Dean Wilkinson in the 55 truck, and alongside him in position 12, Everett Lane in the 24.
In 13th, you've got Eric Laurie on the inside and David Overstreet on the outside in the 46. On the inside, BK Anderson in the 32 and JD Crow in that familiar 5 on the outside. Al Cena in the 85 and on the outside, Donald Sadusky in the 30. Noel Kors in the 15 and Brad Allison is going to be in the 03 on the outside. Brian Kimbler is going to be in that 25, and on the outside, Sebastian Marin in the 23. On the inside, Anthony English in the 44, and on the outside, Zachary Workman in the 19.
And you can see the pace car is off now. The guys starting their one pace lap before we go green. We've got Brian Kimbler in 21st position in the 25. Up alongside Sebastian Marin. You mentioned them already. Anthony English in 44, Zachary Workman in the 19, who finished second in our season championship for season 8. We've got Sean Posey in the 83, Robert Rock in the 171, Edward Fielder in the 111, Brian Rainville in the 60. We'll probably be getting some more commentary from Brian during the race. Richard Sanchez in the 501. Bob Fitzgerald in the 08, and the final row made up of Todd Siebels in the 45 and Randy Miner in the 101.
That's 32 entries here at Talladega with the Super Speedway Kings. We are getting ready to go and get the green flag here. The lights are off on the pace car, and the pace car is leading them down to the Geico restart zone. Gary Jenkins is our pole sitter, and Gary will basically be the control car, and when Gary goes, the field goes.
Guys are talking on the radios, getting each other set, getting the everything aligned for this start, and we are just about to go green, and I am excited.
Yeah, looking forward to another fabulous season with the Super Speedway Kings here on the IWM Broadcast Network. Okay, pace car is down. Gary Jenkins takes them down to the Geico restart zone. He is in control. And that green flag is out. We are back underway with the Super Speedway Kings here at Talladega.
Those first two cars in that inside line got a big jump.
Already a bit of...
Oh, man. Caution is going to come out on lap 1.
Yep, there was definitely an incident where they were just kind of changing legs right there at the start-finish line. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think Michael Malo was involved along with Anthony English. Let's try to go back and see. It's probably going to be one of those incidents where just we weren't clear.
Yeah, I think that's it. You get some new guys in here that maybe aren't as acclimated. I don't know if that was what happened here or not. It looks like the front runners are all guys that are experienced running in this league.
Yep, I think we're going to focus a bit here, Jeff, on that Michael Merlot truck. That's the 211. Let's just try to go through a bit here. And he's in that outside lane. Jimmy Crow is down below. There's definitely some changing of lanes. So what happened was, what appears to be is that McKinney truck of 29 dropped down out of the high lane, and in doing so caused Tom Dixon to get out of the throttle. Let's
Yep. Yeah, you could see that. He just lifted a little bit, and that was all it took to let that next truck in line get into the back of him, that 24 truck. Or no, it's the one in front of him.
Yep. So that's
211.
So Michael Malloy is the 211. The 411 drops out of the throttle. The 211 contacts his tail, and that begins to bunch up the whole field. The 24 is involved, a bit of front end. You can see the rear end damage from the 46 to the 24, and then the 211 unfortunately gets collected and winds up into the wall. So, these guys do have a fast repair. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go back to live action here on the track. So, if you're unfamiliar with that term, as part of, in fact, maybe this is time. Let's cover the race info while we will see some pitting taking place. So, race info, we do have 77 laps here tonight. There are 2 quick repairs, and basically what that means is basically a do-over for these drivers. If you've got some damage, you're involved in an accident, you can go back and pretty much get a fresh truck, just like they pulled it off the back of the hauler and you hopped in, and for the most part without any penalty. They've got 68% fuel, which means they will have to have pit stops during the course of the event, and they have all the tires they can take, but that's not quite a factor here on these super speedways. And towards the end, if we do need some green-white checkers, we'll dive into that as need be.
Yes, sir. We'll see some of those, we saw some of those trucks dip into the pit road to just top off. Sometimes even just that 1 lap or 2 laps will make a difference and give you enough to make it either to the next green flag stop or give you a better position when it comes to yellow flag pit stops. So here we are. Yellow flag, unfortunately, on lap number 1. I don't think we saw that all last season. We had some early cautions, but I don't remember one on lap 1. So these guys ought to be forming up here pretty soon to go back green, probably lap 4 or probably 5, huh? Looks like it now.
Yeah, the lights are still on top of that pace car, so yeah, probably a lap and a half or so. So what we typically have seen here at the Super Speedway Kings, and then again, you just never know. It's Super Speedway, and the margin of error is so small for these guys that incidents do occur. We're not surprised by them, but in this case, on lap 1 was a bit surprising, but it is what it is, and so here we are. You will see these guys racing door to door, sometimes 3 wide. We've seen 4 with these guys, but always been a lot of fun. And the great thing is, here we are. This is season 9 with so many familiar faces with these drivers, and some new ones.
Long front straight here going through that tri-oval, and just coming now to the start-finish line, which is clear down near the end of pit road, which is different than other tracks. It's a lot later on that straightaway, but you can see the cars starting to form up now 2 wide. So this should be the last lap under caution. We'll go back green on lap 5. We've got a good lineup tonight. We have a chance, we might take it to let you know the season 8 finished up. An exciting race last week at Atlanta. It was a nail biter right down to the end. In fact, we couldn't tell who won the championship until Jimmy Crowe spent a little time with his calculator, making sure that he had everything just right, and Gabe Butler came out the winner on a tiebreaker. He had 6 top 5 to Zachary Workman's 5 top 5s, and that was what decided the championship. So just a great season with these guys, spending a lot of time working on their trucks, getting them dialed in, And they did such a good job putting on a great show for us all season long. I think season 9 is going to be the same thing again.
Well, as you alluded to, the lights are off on top of the pace cars. We will be going back to green momentarily. This is not you hop in the car and your setup is there. This is something that you've got to spend some time. You create that setup that you're racing in. Tire pressure, stagger, all the little factors of camber, weight. That's all on you as the driver. So these guys work really hard on their setups, and it's all on them.
Yes, sir. Pace car just dipped down to the apron, so we are going to go green momentarily here on lap 5. Jenkins takes us to the Geico restart zone here. He's the control car, and there he goes. Green flag, and we are underway again on lap 4. And we've already got lane changes going on.
Well, that's what we've come to expect here with the Superspeedway Kings. We do our best to update you as to who's sitting up top and who's right next door to him. And in any moment, it'll change. So we'll keep you up to date. Gabe Butler is on that outside. He continues to show us the way. But as you can see, we are already 3 wide on the backstretch.
Didn't take long, did it?
Nope, that's the 027 of Steve Korosek leading that outside line. Followed by 22 of Zachary Lima. That inside line's got Gabe Butler and the 411 of Tom Dixon. And on that inside line, continuing to show us the way is Gary Jenkins in the 90. Gary has got the 29 behind him.
Yeah, that center lane, not very well organized right at the moment.
Just got a great
now, as soon as I say
though.
that, now they've got a bunch of guys all of a sudden.
Yep, that outside lane kind of fell apart. What you saw was those guys that were in the outside lane drop down into the lead, and you'll see that often here where they'll just change lanes, whatever works the best for them. So you saw the 027 of Steve Korosek and the 22 of Zachary Lima drop down on that outside line and lead that center line. Fortunately, that left the 6 of Cody Nagels and the 32 of BK Anderson kind of orphaned up on that outside line.
Yeah, Korosek and Lima are really hooked up right now. They are nose to tail, and just they're playing follow the leader, staying with each other. You saw them, like you mentioned, Rick, they were both up in the outside lane. Oh, now there goes Steve Korosek up to that outside line all by himself.
Yep, so the low line, that is headed by the 90 car of Gary Jenkins. Got the 29 of Rick McKinney, and the 85 is sitting behind Rick, and that 85, I'm trying to figure out, I've got that. Yeah, that's Al Cena. That's sitting right behind him as well, and the 5 is also there on the low line. So we're beginning to form back up into 3 solid lines here, and again, 3 wide here at Talladega.
We don't see, normally we see that inside line have a bit of an advantage, and we haven't seen that too much yet tonight. They get a little bit of a run in the corners, but the center lane and the outside lane seem to really pick it up as they get to the straightaway and coming off of the turns. They get that momentum run off the top, and away they go.
So there's not a lot of room for error here at Talladega, even less so at some of the other tracks that we run with this league. Why don't we go inside with the 411 of Tom Dixon. Tom's in the middle there. Let's try to see if we can ride along here with Tom.
Love that shot. It just really shows you exactly what that driver sees. You can see there's not much room in between those cars. They're moving around and everybody's moving at a different time. So you really have to be focused, stay focused for every lap of this 77 lap event. So
you're seeing through the corner itself, a little bit of fall off on speed as expected. but as they begin to form back up on that outside lane, you'll see them hitting speeds over 190 miles an hour as a group here, separated by sometimes only inches front to back and sometimes that or less side to side. And so, as we talked about before, as you're plowing through the air, if you're that lead car, you've got a lot of wind resistance and you've got a lot of aerodynamics to deal with as you're sitting back in the field behind that car or further on back. You're able to take advantage of that plow effect of that first car, and then you've got less wind resistance, and so you really have to work that throttle. You can't just be flat. The guy in front's got to have that hammer down, going as fast as he can, but when you're in Tom Dixon's position here, you've got to balance throttle and steering and find your place without touching the guy in front or affecting him, because that will affect the guy in front. So.
Absolutely, and we've seen that happen in multiple events on this super speedway circuit, where somebody will just barely touch a driver that's maybe in second spot in their lane, will just barely touch the bumper of that truck in front of him during a turn. And if you touch during a turn, it's going to take a miracle to be able for that guy in front to be able to control his truck. It's just going to get all wiggly and loose, and you're going to have to let off on the gas to try to save it. And then people behind you don't like it when you let off on the gas, because they don't know you're going to do it, and all of a sudden we're making contact, and that's where we see the yellow flags happening.
So here we are, lap 11 of 77. We've got some great multi-car racing here. We've got 3 lanes of racing here with these Super Speedway Kings. Gary, go ahead.
27 and 22 found their way back together again. They were like glue earlier in the race, and then they got separated. Oh, there we go. And the 27. As soon as I say it, he drops down, and there we go. Oh my! 79 took a hard hit right into that outside safer barrier.
Big wreck here on the track. A lot of damage. We'll try to recap this event. See a lot of cars struggling. This was, we talk and you hear us talk about the big one, but here you got Tom Dixon, Zachary Workman, Brian Kimler, Jimmy Crow Jr. involved, Jason Middleton, Robert Rock, Brad Allison, Todd Siebels, Dean Wilkinson. Just a bunch of drivers were unfortunately involved in that. We'll try to go back here and kind of recap just what caused this. So as we've talked about before, there is a lot of lane changing, a lot of jockeying for position. So we can see already.
Yeah, that Dubby, that green truck there, third truck in the outside lane, looks like he gets into the back of that truck in front of him, just barely. But he was moving sideways when they made contact, and that put that blue truck there. I can't see the number.
Yeah, I think that's Shane Posey. I think the car in front is BK Anderson. Let's back that up just a little bit. So we're following along with BK Anderson here. Looks like there is just a little bit of contact right there from the 83 of Shane Posey. And unfortunately, that little bit of contact was enough to send the 32 into the wall, and will go on. He stays up high on the wall. And unfortunately, the 83 of Shane Posey had then backed up out of the throttle. And when he does that, unfortunately, the whole rear of the field stacks up. And the 39...
Jimmy Crow gets right into the back of him.
Yep. Well, just there.
Knocks him down.
Just there, you can see the 83, You can see the little blurb of fire that comes out of his tailpipe on the right-hand side of the 83. That tells you the driver has gotten out of the throttle, and you can see it right is there. And in doing so, everybody gets collected.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of drama. A lot of carnage. A lot of broken race cars. Okay, so our second caution here at Talladega, and we've just completed lap 14 of our scheduled 64 laps to go.
We have about 8 laps of fuel right now, or 9 or 10 laps of fuel that they've used, which is just almost a halfway of a fuel run. Fuel run's about 21, 22 laps. So I think you'll see everybody come in for fuel here, probably either left or right side tires.
Yeah, I think they actually did, Jeff, while we were going through that wreck analysis here on lap 13 and 14. The entire field came down and took either fuel. The top 8 took fuel only, and after that, majority took 4 tires and fuel. So we're basically getting a do-over. These guys have that opportunity to refresh that car, get that kind of wave their magic wand, and that damage goes away, and they can basically get back to racing. All right, so the Superspeedway Kings run about a 12 race season. We're just kicking off our season 9 here. So you will see, I'm just going to point this out, there are a number of trucks that are back on pit road here.
Oh, wow.
Yep, they're just topping off for fuel.
Half the field.
Well, I think they're pretty much figuring that their plan is that there's not going to be another yellow flag between now and their next green flag stop, so they can add another half a gallon of fuel in there, they're doing it. All right, so the lights are off on top of the pace car. That means just one thing, that we're about to go back to green flag racing, and we thank you for tuning in to our Tuesday night broadcast of the Superspeedway Kings. The IWM Broadcast Network brings you the Superspeedway Kings on Tuesday night and the Tech for Troops Cup Series on our Wednesday night broadcast. We thank you for following us on the social networks and streams you're following, whether that happens to be YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. We thank you for that.
Zachary Lima and Cody Nagels making up the front row, bringing us back to green here. We'll be on lap 16 when we go green. The 22 car there of Zachary Lima is the control car P1, and he'll be determining when these guys hit the accelerator and go.
All right, so we should be coming around soon enough. Everybody's gotten their fuel and tires, and all are on off pit road.
See that 27 truck down on the apron, just trying to take a little shorter route, save just even a few ounces of fuel.
And it does come down to ounces. We've seen guys run out of fuel crossing the start and finish on more than one occasion.
That's a sick feeling, that whole last couple of laps, not knowing exactly when you're gonna run out.
All right, so we're back under the green flag here at Talladega. The 22 of Zachary Lima takes control and is out front on that low line. The 6 of Cody Nagels on the outside with the 19 behind him.
Not a real organized start for that center lane, which would be the outside lane. There's only two. Those two trucks up front there got a good jump. Everybody else kind of spread out a little bit. I think they're trying to play a little strategy here to some guys aren't too concerned about staying up front and running for the lead. That's where we've seen both yellow flags so far. So we have some guys that are going to stay to the back a little bit, let things get sorted out, and let everybody get situated.
So I'm trying to see the, I know that the number on the truck says 19. I'm trying to figure out exactly who that is, Jeff, on that outside line. I don't think the iRacing has that number correctly shown on that truck. Okay, that is Donald Sadusky. So you're going to see 30 as part of the interesting thing that happens with iRacing is that you can have that car painted, but unless you change your number inside of iRacing, it's going to post the wrong number. So the 19 of Sadusky shows on our tower as 30. So just make a note of that if you're following along. That is Donald Sadusky, who is behind the 6 of Cody Nagels.
And Sadusky's somewhat new to this series with the Superspeedway Kings. He only ran one race in season 8.
Oh, a little bit of contact.
Good save. Wow.
I think that was the 08. That 08 is Bob Fitzgerald. He wound up ducking back off the field and wound up on the apron there for a while.
I don't remember Bob's name from last season.
Nope, maybe another new name.
Another newcomer.
Yeah. So we are back at the front. You've got the 30 of Sadusky leading that low line, and as quickly as we blinked, that 6 of Cody Nagels went from the high line to the low line. He's behind the 19 on the track, 30 in the tower of Donald Sadusky. Brian Rainville is on the outside in the 60. He's got a little bit of help there. Well, he's actually now moved down to the center line. He dropped in front of the 501. That's Richard Sanchez. And now that outside line is being led by the 23 of Sebastian Marin.
Sebastian's another one of these drivers, does a great job. Finished 4th in the standings we were talking about earlier, but the interesting thing is he only ran 9 out of the 12 races and still managed to finish 4th in the championship. So it's obvious that he knows what he's doing around here, doing a great job down on that inside line, leading the pack forward.
So what do we think, Jeff? It's about 21 laps under green flag conditions?
Yeah, then they went back green at lap 16, so we're probably looking about lap 37, lap 38, if we can make it to a green flag pit stop. And I sure hope we can, because I'd love for the folks at home to be able to watch. Green flag pit stops are so much fun, because these guys are running 190 miles an hour, and all of a sudden they have to get down to 55 for the pit speed. And that is tough, because you don't want to slow down early, because then you just lose time on pit road. So what they'll do is they'll wait till the last minute. They've all got a mark, with either a spot on the wall or a billboard or a camper, something that they know that's where I'm going to lift and I'm going to drop to the bottom. And then they got the brakes on hard to get down to 55 mile an hour, but that's pit road speed limit. So it'll be, it's always a great, interesting, exciting time when these guys make green flag pit stops.
So exciting for you and I, probably a little bit of nail biting for those guys.
I think you're right. the 18's made its way up there to the front now. Jason Middleton leading that inside lane.
Is that another new name for us, Jeff?
I think it is. I don't remember him from last year. I'm looking through the list, and I don't see his name. So he obviously knows what he's doing, though, right? He's made it here up towards the front. It seems like no matter what happens, as soon as we say somebody's in the lead, somebody else has it. And Cody Nagels is in that spot right now for a little bit, but that 18's got to run, and now Middleton's back out in front again.
Okay, he's got a good push on the Steve from the 027 of Steve Korosek, and you can see him trying to figure out just where it's in his best interest, the high line or the low line, who's running up or down.
I'm watching these guys, and when we were talking earlier about guys that are behind the leaders having to feather the throttle, and you see it in the 6 car. He's kind of sandwiched in there between the 18 and the 23, and he can't stay in the throttle and run over the guy in front of him, but he can't dump out of the throttle because then the guy behind him is going to run right into him. So it's a balancing act, and these guys do a really good job of staying exactly where they should be until they don't. Absolutely. Yeah, and that third lane just formed up again now.
It sure did.
Fell apart.
You've got the 85. That's Al Cena on the outside. He's got the 24 of Everett Lane behind him at the moment.
Still several laps away from any sort of a green flag pit stop, but you can see that bottom lane. That seems to be the favorite place for people to be. That lane is quite a bit longer than the center or the outside lanes. Guys like it. They have more room to maneuver down there. They also, it's a shorter way around. So consequently, they may use a little bit less fuel down there.
Yeah, it may not necessarily be the fastest way, but it winds up being potentially the if you're looking for a visual cue, that yellow line that runs the low line of the track is a good visual cue to maintain. It's a bit more challenging when you look at that middle lane. You've got obviously the low and the high line running right there, and it's not perfect. So the trucks will move up and down by both the fact that they're traveling at 190 miles an hour, but there's also the aerodynamics that will buffet the truck a bit, and it's going to take a little bit extra control to run in that middle and at the high line. The same thing. You've got that safer barrier that rings this track is not forgiving.
That's so true. I think one of the worst places to be in a super speedway race is you see a truck down there on the apron getting out of the way as these guys come around to lap him there. But if you are the second or third car in that center lane, 3 wide, and you get to the corner, it is so hard to judge when your turn-in point starts. And for me, I always end up being just a little bit late, which what that does is force you up towards that outside lane, makes everybody to your outside very, very nervous, makes me very, very nervous when I do that. But it's a tough spot to be in when you're in that second, third, fourth spot in the middle.
Well, 27 laps in the book, 50-ish more to go. We thank you for tuning in tonight to the Super Speedway Kings here on the IWF Broadcast Network, bringing you some of the greatest Super Speedway drivers in the iRacing family of drivers here. You've got just some great racers who understand the challenges and do a fabulous job.
That's for sure. You can see there that third lane is pretty much non-existent now. It just kind of fell apart. people go out and test it, and then they don't have any company out there, so they end up dropping back down to that center lane. You don't want to get hung out there by yourself. With no drafting partner, you're going to go backwards fast. There's probably about a 5-second difference in lap time between the running solo and running in the draft. You see that it looked like the 20, or was that the 5 that jumped out there? It's the 5, and he's got a little bit of company there behind him. So they will try to make a run up to the front, but even with just 2 cars, that gets tough. They'll need somebody to join them.
Yeah, you really need, with super speedway racing and the draft being so important, 1 car is slower, 2 cars is faster, but 3, 4 is what you really need to get to stay, at least to stay pace. This is not saying to go faster than. This is to maintain pace with that leader. So you've got to really bide your time to pass. But if you're by yourself, it's trouble.
Yep. Probably another 10 laps here till we start seeing green flag pit stops. That 5 really wants to get that outside lane to form up. He's just not getting much help.
That's the 5 of J.D. Crowe, who is running in that high line for a while there, but has just not had the help he wants to form it back up. A lot of guys are poking their nose out, trying to say, hey, what opportunity do I have here? But not many takers. So the 18 of Jason Middleton continues to lead that low line down there, and he keeps trading places with the 027 of Steve Korosek, who is the lead line of this slinky we've got here.
Yeah, a couple guys out there again. Oh, there goes the 5 of J.D. Crowe jumping to the front of that 3-car run on the outside.
He's got a little bit of help out there right now. Let's go back to that wider shot. He's got the 5. He's got the 88 of Gabe Butler out there with him, and somebody, another truck behind him, a John Deere truck. I think that's the 19 of Zachary Workman, who's on that outside.
That's where you'll see guys all of a sudden make a run to the front. They're back in like 12th to 15th.
Nope, that's Laurie.
Spot.
Sorry, that's Eric Laurie in the 071 on that outside. So, yeah, those are great drivers on that outside line there. I'm pretty sure they can run these guys down.
Yep, J.D. Crowe leading that run in the 5-car. Finished 5th in our championship standings last season. So he obviously knows his way around the super speedways.
They got a great run off that back stretch as they're continuing to work their way around this track.
You can see how they make that 3rd line work when they get help. They went from being back in the 12th to 15th spot, and then all of a sudden they're up there battling for the lead. And it only took them 2 laps to get there. So it's just a matter of coordinating that, and he's got the 88 of Gabe Butler there pushing him now, and then that 3rd truck's trying to work his way back up there and hopefully get caught up soon.
So when you hear us say pushing, in effect, there is a bit of contact that takes place between the guy in front and the guy behind. So looks like the 71, that John Deere truck, is backed out of it. Unfortunately, that's going to strand the 5 and the 88 up on top and work their way back down.
Yep. And just like that, the 3rd lane is gone, and they're back to running 2 wide. That inside lane, I think people were getting close to the green flag stops, and the only way you can pit is from that bottom lane. So guys you'll see them as they get close, probably about 8 or 9 laps away now, that you can see that bottom line. People are just bailing. Now we've only even got 4 cars in the outside row, so it's they're dropping fat. Won't be long, we'll be single file here, I think.
that's only good for those guys who run that low line. That doesn't help the outside, but we're not far away from pit stops here, and so those lines collapsing is by design. There's no way 3 wide, if you need to fuel, you can do that on the outside. You've got to be in a position where you can get down and get off the track to get down on the racing, to get off the racing line and get into the pits. And I expect we'll see that soon.
I think you're right. That 46 of David Overstreet is leading that inside or that outside lane. But I think those guys are starting to look, hoping they see a gap that they can slide down into soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking around lap 30. Here we go.
Wow, that's early. That first group coming in on lap 34.
So pretty much Steve Korosek, Zach Lima, Jason Middleton, Cody Nagel, Sebastian Marin, Tom Dixon, Brian Kimbler, Anthony English, Brian Rainville, Randy Miner, Brad Allison, Dean Wilkinson, Robert Rock, Edward Fielder, Bob Fitzgerald. Pretty much half the field is now currently sitting on pit road. They're just in. Those are short pit stops. Not everybody is taking tires. Majority of them are just getting fuel only. And they are back out.
23 of Sebastian Marin really picked up spots on that pit stop. Got back out and was the leader of that group.
We'll jump up with our current leaders, and you'll see now this field is working their way down. So the balance of those who stayed out, they're now in. Shane Posey, Don Sadusky, David Overstreet, J.D. Crow, Al Cena, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Everett Field, Gary Jenkins, Zachary Workman, Richard Sanchez, and Todd Siebels. We're now on pit road. Gary Jenkins. Again, looks like a fuel-only stop for these guys. As you can see, as they're working their way off of pit road, their balance of the field is coming up behind them. They're doing everything
that
they can.
Top 10 is just changing like crazy right now. Sebastian Marin ends up back in the lead there. You've got, let's see who we have with him. Korosek, Middleton, Lima, and Corey Nagels making up that top 5 right now.
Yeah, I see it, the 23, the 027, the 18, and Lima is in that pack of 4. Then here comes Cody Nagels in the 6. He's got Zach Workman, the 19, behind him. You've got Posey back there and English. And they're doing what they can to catch back up to that group of 4.
It looks like, is that the 15 truck? It looks like Noel Coors that went up into that outside lane and got some help there. Couldn't tell what truck that was, but
I could be wrong. I think it's the 101 of Randy Miner that's up there.
You're right. There it is. There's a good shot of it. So those guys making their way up to the front of that secondary pack. But these guys in the front, they're making it difficult because they're all staying in line. And as long as they stay in line, they're going to go faster with 4 in a line than they would 2 sets of 2. So they'll be able to keep that lead for a while longer, but eventually that second pack is going to catch them.
Well, hopefully that second pack will get their act together and kind of get organized. And if they do, they will run down that pack of 4. So back up front, you've got Sebastian. Well, with this happening, and now that pack of 4 becoming 2 packs of two lines, and it won't be much time at all where that second group catches right back up.
They must have been listening to the broadcast, and they said, Jeff, we're going to show you that you're wrong. But it didn't. Look how fast that second group caught them there. Now they're right on top of them again. And
that's Cody Nagels, who's picked up on the outside there, and the 19 of Zachary Workman is right there behind the 22 of Lima. The 83 is behind him. That's Shane Posey.
Yeah, at one time, there was somewhere between 2 and 3 seconds between the front pack and the secondary pack. And now that advantage they had is gone. So they pulled back up there, and we've got a good group all running together now.
So interesting, there's another group that's about 6 seconds back. That is with Everett Lane. Let's jump back to that group. They're trying to catch, because they're about 6 seconds off the lead pack. That's Everett Lane, Gary Jenkins, J.D. Crow, Richard Sanchez, Tom Dixon, Brian Kimbler, and Brian Rainville. They're trying to run that lead pack down, but they've got about 6 or so seconds to try and catch back up.
Yeah. And then there's another separation. You get back around position 22, Todd Siebels. There's a 10-second gap back to the next group then.
So is it unexpected? No. When you start running a green flag pit stop like we just saw, that's expected. That's going to happen. Nothing ever works out perfectly to come on pit road and off, because basically when that first car drops off the racing surface, goes through pit road, does whatever action with his team on pit road, tires, fuel, etc., and then getting back up to speed, that's almost 40 seconds, and that's nearly a full lap. So as things happen, traffic, getting in and out of pit road, you will lose spots. So
yep. Right now we've got 27 trucks on the lead lap. Edward Fiedler in the 111 is the last truck on the lead lap, and Bob Fitzgerald currently is 1 lap down in the 08. He would be eligible for the lucky dog should we get a yellow flag. And then Rick McKinney in the 29 machine is 2 laps down. Then after that, there's a big gap. B.K. Anderson and Jimmy Crow, 27, 28 laps down, and it looks like Michael Mallow may be out or sitting in the. Well, it looks like all 3 of those guys are actually sitting in
retired.
the pits or done. They're retired.
I think they could be. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the 111 of Eric Fiedler just went a lap down. He got run over by this freight train that's going around right now. So
wow.
That puts him down. So the next car that is at the tail end of the lead lap is the 071 of Eric Glory. He's about 24 seconds off the lead pack, or approximately half a lap.
You saw that outside line get quite a run coming up that backstretch there. And those 2 trucks of Lima and Corey Nagels were able to drop down into the front of that inside line and take over the lead 2 positions.
So that leaves Al Cena on the outside there. He has got the 15 of Noel Coors behind him.
Great
shot.
Just
happened to pop into Jason Middleton's truck there. That is the 18 that you see right there. That familiar Interstate Batteries paint scheme. So here we are, lap 43 of 77. You've got Zachary Lima leading the event. He is right there in that familiar 22 Red Bull. You've got the 6 of Corey Nagels behind him, and the 18 of Jason Middleton. That outside line has stayed steady. Those 2 guys are doing a great job of staying up there at race speed. That's the 85 of Al Cena and the 15 of Noel Coors.
They're doing a great job at keeping up with that pack when there's just the 2 of them, that outside line. I'm a little surprised more people haven't joined them to try to advance a couple positions, but we'll see. Probably won't take too long.
Yep. So that low line has gotten a little bit disconnected. A few, like 5 or so cars back. That helps out that group that's farther back because they're approximately 9 seconds off the pace. But it's going to be tough to catch back up unless there's an incident or, as we do the math, around lap 56, they should all be back in for more fuel.
That's what I was figuring too. Lap 55, 56, they should come in, although last time they surprised me and came about 3 or 4 laps early. So we'll see if they do that again, or what maybe they were, what they could have been doing is timing it so that if it went green the rest of the way, they just have one more stop.
So if they came in at lap, let's just do some quick ciphering here, Jeff. So they refilled at lap 34 with the yellow flag. That's approximately 36. And so approximately 21 laps of fuel. That's 57 laps. And with 77 laps in the race, if they can
20 laps.
Yeah, if they can stretch it out to lap 57, then they could just make it through. Now, that doesn't take into an account a yellow flag or a green-white checker. So I think these guys we've only had a couple yellow flags so far to date, but look.
Oh, a whole host coming in now. Lap 46, that's interesting. Well, everything we talked about just right out the window.
So this is a short pit strategy from what I can tell.
I didn't see anybody taking tires in that group.
Nope, that was all quick 7.5 second pit stops. That was certainly a very orchestrated event amongst these drivers.
Yep, a lot of these drivers are talking internally, not on the iRacing communications, but on Discord, which is another software program that allows them to talk to one another. And they can plan their pit stops, as you see that second group coming in now.
Looks like the 83 of Shane Posey may have overshot his pit a bit. Had to back up a little bit to get back inside his pit. But again, another 5 guys, Workman, Cena, Overstreet, Posey, and Coors all came in for fuel only and back out.
That's interesting, unless they must figure that by forcing the issue, by pitting on lap 34 like they did, they pretty much forced the rest of the field to pit on lap 35. So there's no advantage now. They can't make it the rest of the way out unless there's a long yellow flag. I don't see how they make it the rest of the way on fuel. But they figured
they can't. But if there is a green-white checker, they now have fuel.
Once they stop again, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So now if they pitted on lap 47 under green flag conditions, that means they'll have to come in at some point.
Yeah, about lap 67 for a full run, but they could come in really several laps, 10 laps before that if they wanted to.
As long as they're in around lap 60, they're covered. But
yeah,
that shakes up the field, as you can well imagine. That now puts Gabe Butler on top of the board. He's got that 071. Now that 071 is Eric Laurie. He is the last car on the lead lap. And by him running out there, he is doing everything he can to stay on the lead lap, hoping a yellow flag comes out. And frankly, at that point, really mix up the field a bit with those guys cutting early and coming down for those green flag pit stops. We'll see how this all plays out. This is a very interesting strategy. We don't know what is in the planning and how these guys have figured out how best to come in. But with anything, there's a bit of gamesmanship here, and it's up to them.
Tell you what, we talk about it just about every race, but I think it bears repeating that if you go to a regular NASCAR truck race, you will have the driver, you'll have another person as a crew chief, another person as the spotter, you'll have a race engineer, you might have a strategist. You've got all these different people working together, where in this situation that we're in, it's just the driver. So right now, Gabe Butler up there in the lead. Gabe Butler is having to figure his own fuel strategy. He's having to take responsibility to clear himself when he has an electronic spotter, but he's got to be very well aware of who's around him and where. He's got to be doing all of that thinking and drive the race car all at the same time.
So lap 51 is in the books. Gabe Butler continues to show us the way. He's in that 88 truck, that Guinness truck down there. He does have the 071 in front of him. Now, another group of drivers, Gary Jenkins, J.D. Crow, Brian Rainville, Brian Kimler, are making their way down here with 26 laps to go, and they are now taking fuel.
With Eric Laurie being the last car on the lead lap, if there's a yellow flag right now, he would get to circle the field and come up to the back of the pack. And Edward Fiedler in that 111 truck, first truck a lap down, would get the yellow or the lucky dog, and he would be able to circle the field as well and get his lap back.
So we've got a number of drivers who last pitted on lap 35. We've got approximately 9 or 10 guys. Well, just a few less now. That's Robert Rock, Dean Wilkinson, and Brad Allison, who are now coming in. A number of guys, a good bit of the field, about a third of the field is pitted last on lap 46. And now a bunch mixed on lap 51 and 52.
Well, we're doing better than the last time we were at Talladega. We had, by this time in the race, we already had 4 yellow flags.
Oh, don't jinx us.
So 5 yellow flags by this point.
So that lead pack has caught up to the 5, the 25, the 60. Those guys were pitted last on that last cycle of pit stops. And they are all at the tail end of the field. Again, these guys are hoping that a yellow flag may come out and they could get back in. But, eventually Gabe Butler is going to have to come down pit road. Gabe and the 30 of Donald Sadusky, the 19 on the truck, we should expect to see them on pit road momentarily.
Yeah, and really, even that last group, they pitted with 26 to go, so they don't have enough fuel to make it to the end. So everybody's going to have to pit one more time.
I expect we will see Gabe Butler come down pit road. If it's not this lap, it's coming up soon.
Yep, I think you're right. 61. Yeah, we're at lap 55. 61 is about where those guys max out. So anytime now they'll be starting.
So we are on top of Gabe Butler's truck, and apparently that's not the time by. So
no, I think they're going to hang on as long as they can till they run it pretty close to dry. Not enough to be risky, but I've been proven wrong before, but there doesn't seem to be an advantage to pitting now. Just go for as long as you can and see if you get a yellow.
Well, if they put a lap on lap 35, that means green flag at lap 37, then they should be pitting now. 37, 47, 57, 58 laps, which is pretty close. Here we go.
Yep. Boy, the 19 locking them up, trying to get slowed down.
Yeah, they're going out, turning that corner. It's about 183, 184 miles an hour. Hitting that that corner, trying to back it down to 55. That is not an easy task.
You saw that 071 of Eric Laurie pit with them, and I think this is going to put him a lap down once they come out.
I think so too. All right, so we're watching these guys get a full pit stop here. They did change, I think, they've changed one side of tires. That was a great stop by Gabe Butler. That was a 12-second stop. You got tires and fuel.
So he won't be the leader when he comes back out, but he will be the leader of cars that have enough fuel to make it to the end.
So the 45 of Todd Siebels, he's coming in right now. Todd is the last car who pitted last on lap 35. So that will officially put Zachary Lima, I believe, in charge of the race. Okay, 20 laps to go. Question is, who can make it on what they've got and who can't? Pretty sure these guys, this whole pack out front, the top 10, pitted last on lap 46 or 47. That was a green flag run. That means they're coming in on lap 67. So we should see them in the next 10 laps. They will need to come in for fuel.
Yep, Gabe Butler's running back in the 11th spot right now, and by my calculations, he's the first car with enough fuel. We'll see if that plays out to be true.
Yeah, our math says that Gabe should be able to make it around as long as there are no green-white checker towards the end. He may need a splash of gas to pull that off. So you can see the 29 that they're about to run up on. 29 is Rick McKinney. You've got the 22 of Zachary Lima, followed by the 23 of Sebastian Barron, and look what's happening here, Jeff.
Yep.
Almost
coming in. Whoa! Man, I didn't think he was going to get slowed down. That was a great shot from that in-car camera.
So that's your top 7 on there. Really, Noel Kors, David Overstreet, and Shane Posey were still. They still have pitted last on lap 47. All these guys took fuel only. 7.5 second pit stops, and they are charging back out on the track. They now have enough to go the distance. No Kors, David Overstreet, Shane Posey. We should expect to see them pretty much momentarily, maybe this lap by.
This is just fascinating to me because we've not seen a Talladega race with the Superspeedway Kings shake out like this, where you've got multiple packs running single file around the racetrack. Different fuel strategies, different tire strategies. it's really interesting development at how this race has shaped up.
All right. 17 laps to go. Your leader, Noel Coors, followed by David Overstreet and Shane Posey. We expect these guys will be on pit road anytime now.
Yeah, you don't know if they were hoping for yellow and try to, save as much as they could save.
I think they've only got one more lap of fuel, but that's my math. It's not. We have no access to the drivers. It's just our best estimates based on what we've seen and what we know, and it's always a gamble as these guys try to figure out what's in their best interest and also for the strategy-wise.
Come down that long back stretch going into 3 and 4, and we will see if they make the decision to hit pit road for a top off of fuel. Just a splash and go. They won't need to take much, but it is going to pull them off the track for quite some time. And doesn't look like it, does it?
Not
They're
this
going to
time
go again.
by. They have certainly found a good way to save some fuel. Now they are running up on some traffic. That's the 5 of J.D. Crow. He is at the tail end of the field, but again, those guys are going to have to drop back off that 15, that 46, and the 83, pitted last on lap 47. They gambled, my guess, on a yellow flag coming out, and it has not happened. Now they're scrapping to try and get back down. And unfortunately, that leaves the 85 on that outside. He is going to try to find a way to get back down if he plans on entering pit road.
Doesn't look like it, does it? Man.
These guys have got something special going on.
They have been saving fuel somehow.
I guess. I keep thinking of the Days of Thunder. They've got a extra wide fuel line.
That's right. Yeah, that 85 is dropping back now. I think he's going to have to get to the back of that inside lane to drop down in order to get to pit road. He's catching back up to those 3, but they cannot get enough of a run to get in front here to get into that inside lane to get down to pit road.
Yep,
They're going to have to go around again. If got a little wiggly up there with the 5. Looked like the 5 got into the back of that. Tell the number on that truck. Maybe the 90.
Looks like a little bit. They're coming up on the. It's a pit. Lap car. Bob Fitzgerald on that outside. I keep waiting for them to drop down. I don't know how they're able to stay out there. It's here we go. No. I'm guessing it's got to be. I've guessed wrong every time. Yeah.
I know. Trying to get to the to get in front of the inside lane, but they just don't have enough steam to do it.
Well, 13 laps to go here with the Superspeedway Kings at Talladega. Thank you so much for tuning in to the IWM Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Rick Souza, here with my co-host, Jeff Needy. We're bringing you the last 12 laps here of the Superspeedway Kings. We've been sitting up here babbling about fuel strategy, and we're watching the 15 of Noel Coors, the 46 of David Overstreet, and Shane Posey, because those 3 trucks last pitted on lap 47. We would only expect them to make it to lap 68, and that's pretty much coming up soon. Here we go.
Oh, somebody dropping down.
That's the 15. Yep. Of Noel Course.
Noel Course. He says, "Okay, guys, that's it. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go for the sure thing and get a decent finish rather than risk losing it all."
Well, the problem for Noel is that he pitted by himself, and he may have stayed out as long as he could, but now he's going to have to come out by himself and hope to time that with another group that's going around.
Now that 46 with David Overstreet needs to pit too, doesn't he?
He does, as does the 83 of Posey. When there's Posey right now, Overstreet is still staying out.
Wow. All three of those guys pit by themselves and come out without any drafting partner. Well, 46 could pit with those two cars up. They may be able to get in front of the 46. They've got to run, but nope, now the 46 has jumped way out there.
Well, that group, that's the 90 on the outside there. Gabe Butler out there.
Gabe Butler went to the outside. He knows these guys are going to have to drop down and get to pit lane, and he wants to stay out front.
Yeah, so Gary Jenkins in the 90, he is actually pretty much towards the tail end of the lead pack. So now we just saw the 46.
Yep, he's headed to pit road.
He is headed to pit road. Finally, so that is the last car that was part of that group that pitted on lap 46. That is going to completely shake up the field. Now our leader, the 88 of Gabe Butler, with 9 laps to go.
So the 5 and that truck that's leading that pack, I can't quite see the number.
That's the 90.
That's the 90. They are on the end of the lead lap.
They are.
Gary Jenkins and J.D. Crow.
And unfortunately, they pitted last on lap 60, so they are hoping for a yellow flag. So 9 laps here to go with the Superspeedway Kings at Talladega. Another exciting race with these guys. Very clean.
It really is.
Yeah, lots of definitely a race filled with pit strategy and planning. We have not been the best at guessing who is going to pit when. But however it is, it all worked out so far for the 88 of Gabe Butler. He continues to show us the way. Donald Sadusky in the 19 truck on the graphic, 30 on the tower, and we've got Zachary Lima in the 22, and Sebastian Marin actually is in 4th. Now you're seeing a mix of lap traffic, so they're actually 7 seconds behind Gabe Butler and Donald Sadusky. So
yeah, this is going to be interesting because you've got the 88 of our defending champion, Gabe Butler, along with the 30/19 of Donald Sadusky. And they're mixed in the middle of lap cars, and yet those are the two guys that are going to be fighting for the win here with 7 laps to go. So far, everybody's playing nice. They're just running single file there. And I think if Gabe Butler had his way, they could probably run single file the rest of the race. But I just I don't see Donald Sadusky sitting back and saying, "Okay, Gabe, you take it."
No, the gloves typically come off with that 2 to 3 laps to go. So we'll see how that all plays out.
Going to make it a really exciting finish because it's very tenuous right now. You don't know what to expect. These guys are just running single file, playing nice. Everybody staying in line, keeping their momentum up, not letting that backpack catch them.
You've got a number of guys who are now on pit road. The Brian Kimbler, Brian Rainville, Robert Rock, all these guys who are now coming down pit road. We're trying to get a camera that shows them. There we go. They're now on pit road with, unfortunately, 6 laps to go.
That
Now
main pack that we have been following is coming up on 2 lap cars now, but it looks like they are going to stay up high, stay out of the way, and give these guys room to maneuver down below them.
Well, those are the cars we were following earlier. That is Shane Posey and the 46 of David Overstreet.
Yep, they are both now 1 lap down since they were just passed by Gabe Butler.
So those guys were just in the pit. Robert Rock. You saw them just get the lead pack run by them as they were coming off of pit road. So 5 laps here to go at Talladega for the Season 9 opener of the Superspeedway Kings. A clean race, just a couple early incidents so far. I'm knocking wood here to make sure that but
isn't that interesting? This has been the first race that we've had a caution come out on lap 1, and yet we've only had 2 cautions the entire race, lap 1 and lap 13. After that, it's been a great fuel strategy race. Guys running hard, a lot of 2 and 3 wide. Right now, not quite that exciting, but it's fixing to get moving here in a second.
Well, especially what you've got here, you've got that blend of lead cars with the 88 of Gabe Butler and Donald Sadusky behind him, mixed in with a lot of guys. Oh, just came off the track there. That was the 111 of Edward Fielder that dropped off there a second ago. But they're mixed in with some guys who are at least 1 lap down, maybe more than that. And they're just kind of blended in a bit. So we'll see how that goes. They may just be boxed in, Jeff. There's no place for them to go.
Yeah, that's the thing right now with 3 laps to go. Gabe Butler and Donald Sadusky don't have anywhere to move to.
No, now that second
they could
pack,
go to the back of the second line, but that doesn't really gain them anything.
Right, so jumping back, that pack that's behind them, that's trying to catch them. Jumping back here, this is Cody Nagel's. This group, they are desperately trying to close this gap, but with 3 laps to go, they are sitting nearly just under 5 seconds, 4.7 seconds to try and catch up. Now, they are well formed up to try and run that pack down.
I think the clock has run out on those guys. I just don't see them unless we get a late yellow. I don't see those guys being able to make that up fast enough.
It's going to be super hard. There's not a lot of time out there because they're only making up fractions of a second per lap, and with only 2 laps to go, it's going to be difficult. All right, we'll go back to our leaders. Of course, that group has kind of broken up a little bit as we began to look back over what's going on. We saw the 111 of Eric Fielder jump down. Whoa, wrecking.
Oh, man. That was totally unnecessary, but yet that gives us a green-white checker for the ending.
So I show that the white flag did come out. Let's see how this plays out.
iRacing says green-white checker, so
okay, all right.
That's all I'm going by. But
yep, no, that's perfectly correct. Let's go back and see just what occurred there. Looks like we'll jump behind the 46. That's David Overstreet.
Yeah,
so he's out of the throttle to get the 171 that's running up behind him. Run this at regular speed. So it's like the 83 drops down, and there is contact just the tiniest little bit. Oh, and he doors the 19 big time. That was your number 2 truck of Donald Sadusky.
He hung on to that truck, though. That's amazing. That's
He
going to keep
did.
him right behind Gabe Butler. We'll see how much damage he might have in that right side.
All right, so it's like he may be coming down onto pit road to get that damage taken care of. Keep our eye on the 19 of Donald Sadusky here and just see, you'll see his car change. Oh gosh, you'll see that damage disappear like that.
Yep.
Magic of iRacing.
See where the
It was a close call with the 55 there. You will have contact on pit road, but the folks at iRacing kind of make that there is some leeway there with the driver.
Yeah, Gabe Butler makes it out in front of Donald Sadusky.
I'm not sure how that's going to stack out, because the group that was chasing them down, Cody Nagel, Zach Lima, those guys all stayed out.
I know that. Wow. I wondered when Butler and Sadusky pitted. I wondered. Now I don't know if I would have done that, but they're better at this than I am, so maybe they knew something. But now it's tough. I mean, they're back in 9th and 10th spot. They've got. They probably took tires, but.
Well, that was a 5.98 second stop for Gabe Butler. They just came down just to take a splash of fuel. They obviously felt that they were not going to be able to make it without him. So that does change everything. That puts Zachary Lima, the 22, currently the control car. Cody Nagels will be on the outside, I believe. For only our third caution of the night, this will be a green-white checker. So if you're unfamiliar with what that means the next time when we go back to the green flag, you'll see the lights go off on the pace car. It means the next time by, after that green flag flies, the flagman will display the white flag with 1 lap to go, and that will be anything past that. If there's an incident, it will not affect the finish. You race back to the start-finish line. The goal will be to get back to that white flag. So Mixmaster PJ has commented that they had to. They were on fumes. They were stretching it for a long time ago. Yep, we absolutely figured that these guys are in charge of their destiny. If they had to come down, they know better than us. We don't have access to their fuel. All we can do is speculate and gain information from somebody who is watching or spotting or listening to that chatter that happens in the Discord amongst those drivers. So thank you for that tidbit of information.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I know one thing for certain. This race is far from over. Even with only 3 to go, it is far from over. Things are going to get very aggressive here. You're going to see 3 wide. We had shaping up a very calm, cool, collected finish, and that all went south in a hurry with just a little bit of a tap from a late move and a late block. So when that pace car drops off, these guys are going to get ready to go to battle.
It's game on.
It is.
So the lights are off on the pace car. These trucks will go back to green flag racing in about half a lap.
Let's see if we should place a wager on if they get 3 wide before turn 1. It's not going to take long, I don't think.
Well, the interesting thing is that is potentially sitting well for those guys that are farther back in the pack, because if there is carnage at the front, anybody, it could be anybody's race. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out.
Gabe Butler, who was leading when we took the caution flag, is on the inside lane which doesn't give him as much of an option. He's somewhat trapped down there unless people in that center lane, or currently the outside lane, make a move. And if they go up to the further to that third lane, then he's got some options then. But boy, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Everything depends on something else.
All right, we are about to go back to green flag racing here at Talladega for the Super Speedway Kings Truck Series. Here we are, green flag is flying, and we have 3 laps to go, 2 laps at the stripe. Zachary Lima takes us down. He's got Sebastian Marin behind him. You've got Cody Nagels on the outside, and you've got the 027. We've seen Steve Korosek out front since the beginning. Zachary Workman has worked his way back up. He is on the outside there. Behind Zachary Workman is
third lane.
Gabe Butler. Yep, that third lane is forming up. These guys are looking for their best opportunity. Gabe Butler and J.D. Crow jumped to that outside line.
Somehow Gabe Butler made it up there to that outside line. I don't know how he did it. I missed it, but now 19 and Zachary Workman can't decide whether to get up in front of him or stay where he's at.
Rich, all or nothing here as they come to take the white flag. Whatever happens past this point is what happens. We are the final lap here at Talladega for the Super Speedway Kings season opener. Zachary Lima continues to show us the way. The 23 of Sebastian Marin behind him. The 44 of English behind us. Anthony English is there as well. The inside lane, the center is the 6 car of Cody Nagels. He's got the 027 of 027. He's behind him. That's Steve Korosek. Sorry about that. And the outside line has the 501. That is Richard Sanchez, who's currently leading that as we come to the final.
Sebastian Marin giving a big push to Zachary Lima, trying to make that inside lane go. Although the 6 of Cody Nagels is saying, not yet, not yet.
All right, this is in the book. Sebastian Lima is the winner here at the Super Speedway King season opener. We'll double check the order. It looks like Nagels is finishing in P2 and Sebastian Marin may have finished in P3. We'll get that final order in as it becomes available to us.
That's what iRacing is calling so far, and it has not changed. So I'm going to guess that is your finishing order. 22 of Zachary Lima, followed by Cody Nagels in the 6, and Sebastian Marin in the 23, our top 3 drivers.
Don't go away, folks. We will have those top 3 drivers in the booth with us talking about their race. Once we can get these final official, right now we're showing you and giving you unofficial results, but as soon as we have the final official results, we'll bring that to you as Zachary Lima celebrates his victory. Oh, here at Talladega, contact with that inside wall.
I think these guys are having a little bit of fun now.
All right, let's see if we can bring up the results. Okay, here's the official results, folks, as the drivers continue to celebrate. Zachary Lima is your winner. Cody Nagels is in 2nd. Sebastian Marin finishes 3rd. Steve Korosek in 4th. Anthony English is in 5th. Gabe Butler makes his way back up to 6th. Gary Jenkins in 7th. Brian Rainville finishes in 8th. Donald Sadusky in 9th. And Brian Kimbler in 10th.
Todd Siebels in 11th, followed by Everett Lane 12th. Robert Rock 13th. J.D. Crow in 14th. Richard Sanchez in 15th with Zachary Workman in 16th. Tom Dixon 17th. David Overstreet 18th spot. In 19th, we've got Dean Wilkinson. And in 20th, Eric Laurie.
Randy Miner finishes in 21st. Brad Allison, Noel Kors, Edward Fielder, Rick McKinney, Bob Fitzgerald, Shane Posey in 27th, Al Cena in 28th, Jason Middleton in 29th, BK Anderson, Jimmy Crowe Jr., and Michael Mallow finish up the final results of the field.
Our winner tonight, Zachary Lima, I'll have to ask him how to pronounce that name. Is it Lima or Lima? Did not run with us much last season. He was only in 3 races. So it's good to see him start this ninth season off with a big win here at Talladega.
So interesting, those 3 guys, Zachary Lima, Cody Nagels, Steve Korsak, and Sebastian Marin, they're all in the Discord channel together as part of the Dale Cup. We'll see. We'll bring up Sebastian. See if we can get him up into the booth. Sebastian, congratulations! Welcome to the broadcast booth.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Thank you.
You're welcome. That was we had a lot of bit of excitement at the beginning, followed by a lot of pit strategy and fuel strategy, and I guess that was the calm before the storm there at the end of this race.
Yeah, it was. The start of the race, I got home really at the last second, so I barely made it to the race. So I couldn't even get a chance to qualify, so that's why me and my teammates started from the pits. That lap 1 yellow kind of saved us a bit to just get mixed in with the field. And then after that, it was just trying to get us to the front and try to control the race, and we did that. And since we planned on leading, we kind of knew that making on a one-stop like Gabe and Donald were doing was going to be hard, because we just wanted to lead the lanes at all times. So we went aggressive and went with the 2-stop. We needed maybe like 3 more laps if it went green, but those guys out front did a really good job saving fuel. That yellow coming to the white was really fortunate, and it gave us a shot to win the race. And we knew that those guys out front, when the yellow came out, they couldn't make it on the green-white checkered, so we knew we were going to be the control cars. And then after that, it was just our teammates. I was on the bottom of my teammate, and my other 2 teammates were in the middle, so we were just going to stay committed and try and get one of us to win, and we got a 1, 2, 3, 4 out of it.
Well, it worked out really good for you guys, Sebastian. One of the things that we noticed, we missed you the last 2 races of season 8, and that was a shame because you had that first place locked up, and then with the time change, I guess you weren't able to make those last 2 races.
Yeah. So for this trimester, some classes that I have to take, like you said, they when I come out of my classes, practice is already halfway done. So like you said, after they switched it back to the default time, it was really hard for me to make it. The first time I got home like a minute after the session closed, so it was a little disappointing. Like you said, since I was leading the points, but oh well, things happen, things out of my control. So glad we can come out on top on this week, and hopefully I can make some more of these races and maybe even contend for the championship once again.
So Sebastian, hang with us. We're going to do something a little bit different this season. We're going to bring all you guys in, so you can stay here, and we can welcome Cody Nagels to the booth as well. Cody, congratulations on your P2 finish.
Thank you, Rick. It seemed like we had to have a little bit of fortune there go our way at the end with the late caution, knowing that the guys trying to save a little bit of fuel weren't going to make a green-white checker. So sometimes it's good to be in a good place on the track if something like that happens. But even without that, we felt like we had played our strategy to a T all race. We worked really well, communicated, were able to control what was in our control, keeping everyone's temperatures down and just taking care of each other on the track. So I couldn't be any prouder.
No, you guys did a great job. As we were talking about earlier, that we had those early cautions, and after that, it was all up to different pit strategies. It seemed like the field was kind of broken up into about 3 different camps of when they should pit or what's the best way to get around the track, and y'all definitely are on the same pit strategy.
It seemed like that, after the caution come out, it seemed like a one-stop strategy probably is in play, but you'd have to save a lot, and we all agreed that we wanted to run hard, so we just decided to split it up into 2 stops, knowing that they were, the guys that are able to kind of ride around towards the back of their respective pack, probably going to be able to make it, whereas the leaders wouldn't be able to, so we committed to our 2-stop strategy and put ourselves at the head of the guys that had pitted on the 2-stop strategy. So again, had to have a little luck come our way, but again, we put ourselves in a spot.
It worked. It worked.
It sure
Exactly.
did.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta be at the right place at the right time, and we were a little bit fortunate of that last caution, but nonetheless, we were still poised for good finishes regardless.
All right, and also with that note, we want to bring in Zachary Lima. Congratulations on your win here at Season 9 with the Speedway Kings.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Zachary, it's good to have you racing. Now, last season, you just ran a partial season. What's your intent this year or this season? Are you going to run full season? Just going to run when you can?
Yeah, my intent with the team is we're going to do a full season here.
Well, that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we were watching for the longest time. We saw that you were up front, and you guys were, and same thing with you, Cody. We saw you dominating that outside line. This was an interesting race where we saw often that the outside line wasn't able to stay together. Lots of times that outside line kind of collapsed and fell apart and wasn't organized, while that low line hung together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of it as well was, like you said, the different strategies. So people were kind of just committed to run the bottom to save fuel, and then the guys in the middle, they might have just seen us as a team being out front, and maybe they just decided to ride, because we tend to do that as well, knowing our competitors around us. So I think it was a little bit of both, just people playing their different strategies, like you said, and people maybe just taking a break and waiting until the end of the race to go.
Well, we have not seen a race at Talladega that played out this way. At least all last season we never did, where the whole center section of the race was different packs. You maybe had 3 or 4 different packs running their own pace around the track and running single file for a lot of that time.
Yep.
So it was definitely a fuel strategy all through the center part of that race that set us up for the finish that we had.
Well, guys, congratulations on your, in this case, your top 3 finishes. Any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'll give a shout-out to Del Cup as a whole. Me and our team worked really well. Me, Zach, Cody, Steve, Jason, who was in there earlier. Just big shout-out to them. We've been really working well together, and we can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds on for us.
Zach, any shout-outs?
Yeah, man, I'd like to say some. I want to say thank you to Seabass for pushing me for the win. It was all him, 100%. I was going to go to the middle lane and try to help Steve, but Seabass wanted me to get that W, and it was a good win for our team, Dale Cup. We finished strong, and we got really lucky on that last caution. Extremely lucky. So...
that happens. That's part of it. Some of us just want to be more lucky than good, so you'll take it for sure. Cody, any shout-outs, Cody?
Shout out to my teammates, Dale Cup, and shout out to you guys for broadcasting at IWM, and thank you, Jimmy, for putting on this great league, man. I think I speak for everyone here. We enjoy it, and we look forward to coming out. Like, it's the highlight of my day, and yeah, get off with work, and can look forward to some SSK on a Tuesday night. So, fantastic league, and let's make for a fantastic new season.
Looking forward to it. Jimmy, can you tell us where are we at next week, Jimmy?
Well, it's Christmas break next week. We're going to be off for 2 weeks, and we'll be back on the 3rd of January for the new year. I hope everybody has a good Christmas break. If you guys in the booth ain't doing anything, next Tuesday we're going to break out the old Gen 6 cars here at Talladega and see if we can have a little fun with them.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in to the IWM broadcast of the Super Speedway King Truck Series here at Talladega. Congratulations to Zachary Lima on his win. P2 with Cody Nagels and P3 for Sebastian Marin. We, again, thank you for tuning in on whatever stream you're following, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. We ask that you like and follow to stay up to date on our future broadcast endeavors. Again, have a great night. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
Moral
Thank you very
Tech
much.
rules.
Thank you.
Thank you. Delco for life, baby.
Okay, guys.
Good night.
See you guys.